All right, now let's speak to Cosatu Deputy General Secretary Gerald Thwala for more. Mr. Thwala, thank you so much for your time. So you've recently concluded your Federation's 3-day Central Executive Committee meeting briefing. As a long-standing ally of the ANC, just give us a sense in terms of what was discussed in those 3-day discussions in as far as how the ANC is handling the formation of the Government of National Unity. Has the ANC consulted with you in any way?
Our Central Executive Committee held last week on the 18th to the 20th of June came after the announcement of the 2024 national and provincial elections. And of course, the Central Executive Committee had to take stock of the work that we've done since the February CEC up till now, June, including the election outcomes themselves. And I think one of the most important area that we've touched on is to take stock of the victory that we have recorded as workers under an ANC government. You can actually talk about the signing into law of the National Health Insurance and also issues around the two-pot pension system. We have said we have done well as workers, and now we are faced with a situation where the ANC, our ally, has not actually got the necessary majority to form a government on its own, and we are forced now to go into a government of national unity, which we have cautiously noted as the Central Executive Committee, and we have said the devil is in the details. We still have to see what is the real intention and the format and content of the Government of National Unity, and we'll take it from then. Of course, we have made mention of the DA specifically because it is part of the Government of National Unity, but it's a fact that the DA is not a friend of workers in South Africa. It has actually been posturing anti-worker policies for the past years, and from where we are not happy with a DA that is part of the Government of National Unity.
So, I mean, we obviously heard, those sentiments being uttered quite a number of times. So let's discuss that, the scenario then that you would like to see. I mean, whilst, of course, the ongoing talks between the DA and the ANC continue, we do understand they could be strained at this point in time. What picture would you then like to see, from this new political landscape as South Africa we are currently traversing, considering too that there was no outright winner, as you indicate, in the previous election? How would you like, some of these parties to work together, particularly given the fact that, they have come to, quite extensive, meetings and understandings, particularly with the DA? What would you like to see happen in as far as this Government of National Unity when it is finalized and formed?
We've entered uncharted waters in the South African political, discourse. And of course, as we said, it's a fact that we now have our opponent politically, the DA, forming part of the Government of National Unity. It's a reality, it's a fact. Ours has to be sending a message very clear to the Government of National Unity that we are ready to see and defend the rights of workers. For the past 30 years, the ANC government has actually done a lot in terms of improving the conditions of the workers and the working class in our country. We want to see those progressive laws being defended, being taken forward by our own Government of National Unity. And we stand to see any attempt to take us back in terms of progressive laws that we have actually fought for as workers and the working class in our country being trampled upon. That is why our position is very clear that we stand to see what is in the details of this Government of National Unity. Of course, we are happy to see what they would have actually termed the agreement of intent or something like that, that relates to a broad policy that all parties agree in that which are within the government of national unity, upholding the constitutionalism of our country and the respect for the laws of the country, making sure that all of us work together to grow the economy so that it is able to create jobs for our people, fighting crime and corruption. Those are the issues that are in the minds, and wish of the ordinary voters and workers in South Africa. So that's basically what we are expecting to see as a Cosatu going forward. Of course, as we've said, we are going to be combat ready to see any trampling of the rights of workers in South Africa by the government of national unity.
As you go about that, and I want to just go back to what President Cyril Ramaphosa said in his letter today, saying that the success of the government of national unity will be measured by the extent to which parties are prepared to focus, not on who will govern, but on how the country will be governed in the interests of the people. Do you accept that? I mean, do you also accept the fact that, your workers also who voted as an electorate also have had their say, which is why we are seeing the picture politically look the way it does, that there is a change and that there should be a change, and it shouldn't be focused on which party is in power, but rather how that particular party will then service the needs of the people?
And of course, the fact of the matter is that Cosatu has accepted the outcomes of the elections. We have accepted the fact of the matter is that the ANC has not won, no political party has won outright majority. And the expectation and the message from the voters is that political parties must work together. That is what we expect. But of course, you would understand that from where we are as Cosatu, we represent the workers. And we know what workers want for their future, for the future of their children, for the future of the country. And we expect all those political parties indeed to put aside their political differences and focus on the real work, that which of taking South Africa forward, of building a South Africa, that which all its people will actually enjoy in terms of economic benefits, the creation of jobs, but also living in a society where there's no crime, where there's no corruption. So that's what we have actually, we are actually saying as Cosatu. And indeed, we have heard that there will be some kind of a national dialogue that is going to be convened. As part of civil society, Cosatu is ready to participate so that the voice of workers is actually registered and heard in such a national discourse.
Given the fact that we're now sitting in this particular situation politically, and the landscape has changed, and yes, many discussions saying that it is a new terrain, your relationship with the ANC going forward, how do you foresee the dynamics changing? I mean, you also talk now about the national dialogue and that you will be participating, particularly from a civil society perspective. But will the alliance remain intact? Will there be any changes that we can foresee?
Well, look, the alliance has actually been an alliance of independent components. So the ANC is an independent component of the alliance, leading the alliance itself. Same applies to Cosatu, the South African Communist Party, and Zango. That kind of a relationship will continue within the context that we are not one organization, we are different organizations with different interests. So that actually, kind of a relationship will continue going forward. Of course, what becomes a little bit difficult now this time around is that we are no longer having the ANC in charge of government in terms of majority out of the election outcome. But we're looking forward for an alliance that is going to be more robust and vibrant as we actually defend our own terrain and constituency of workers going forward. We foresee an alliance that should begin to come together and rebuild ourselves into a very strong revolutionary alliance, because that has been one of the weaknesses. And when we're approaching the elections, there have been issues, within the alliance, And we are looking forward for us, closing ranks and building a very strong alliance so that we are able to, take back the political power in the next, elections.
All right, Mr. Thwala, thank you so much for your time. Let's leave it there for now. Cosatu Deputy General Secretary Gerald Thwala there for us.